Today, we're going to dive into one of the most critical and honestly most fragile points in the entire global economy. We're talking about Taiwan's absolute dominance of the semiconductor industry and why it puts our entire modern world on a razor's edge.
I want you to just imagine this for a second. You wake up, you reach for your phone, and nothing. It's dead. And I don't mean out of battery. I mean it's a completely useless brick. Then you find out your car won't start, the internet's down. This isn't some solar flare. It's the terrifyingly real possibility that a single island has just been cut off from the rest of us.
And the immediate impact? It's not just that you can't check your email. We are talking about a $10 trillion hole just ripped out of the global economy. That's a tenth of the world's GDP. Gone. Almost overnight. Look, this isn't some sci-fi plot. This is the very real price we might pay because the entire modern world has, kind of by accident, placed its entire future in one single basket. And that basket just happens to be sitting on one of the most dangerous geopolitical fault lines on the planet. This is the story of the Silicon Shield.
So, how in the world did we get here? How did one small island, an island with basically no natural resources, manage to engineer a monopoly so powerful that the world's superpowers are now stuck in its orbit? Well, it all kicks off with a cheap breakfast and an executive who'd been cast aside.
You gotta go back to the 70s. Back then, made in Taiwan meant, cheap plastic toys, or maybe an umbrella that would break on its first windy day. But a plan was hatched, literally over some fried dough sticks in Taipei, to pivot to technology. They just needed someone to lead the charge. That leader turned out to be Morris Chang, a 54-year-old executive who was basically put out to pasture in the US tech scene. But where everyone else saw a dead end, he saw a completely blank canvas.
At the time, you have to understand, the chip industry was just dripping with arrogance. The big dogs like Intel, they designed their own chips and they built them in their own multi-billion-dollar factories, or fabs. The founder of AMD, Jerry Sanders, he summed up the whole attitude perfectly. Real men have fabs. If you didn't own the factory, you were basically nobody. But Morris Chang, he spotted a loophole in all that bravado. He realized that building a fab was so insanely expensive that it was shutting out all these brilliant designers who had incredible ideas, but zero cash. So he pitched this heretical idea. He called it a pure-play foundry, a company that would only build chips for other people and would never, ever design its own and compete with its customers. The rest of the industry, they literally laughed at him. But see, Chang's model had a secret ingredient: trust. Think about it. If you were a small startup, and you took your brilliant new chip design to Intel, you were basically handing your blueprints over to your biggest competitor. It was like asking a fox to guard the henhouse. But TSMC, they were neutral ground. They became the Switzerland of chips. And that simple foundation of trust, well, it would go on to change everything.
So, with this totally radical business model in place, TSMC set out to do what everyone thought was impossible: build a global monopoly from scratch. And they pulled it off with two secret weapons: an absolutely unmatched work culture and a ridiculously powerful financial feedback loop.
The first weapon is something you just can't buy. It's a local concept called baogan, and that translates to exploding liver. Yeah, it's this dark slang for a work ethic so relentless it's believed to literally damage your internal organs. Here in the West we talk about work-life balance. At TSMC, the idea is the liver takes a beating so your iPhone battery doesn't have to.
And in the real world, this exploding liver culture looks like something else entirely. They run 3 R&D shifts a day, 24/7. That alone speeds up development by a third compared to competitors like Intel. They have people with PhDs monitoring production lines, a job that would be seen as way beneath them in the US. And then there's this: when an earthquake hits Taiwan, TSMC engineers are famous for running into the fabs to save the multi-million-dollar machines. This isn't just working hard, it's a level of operational discipline that's almost impossible to replicate anywhere else.
The second weapon was basically a money printing machine, and Apple turned the key. See, Apple needed a manufacturer that wasn't also its biggest rival in the phone business, Samsung. So they moved all their iPhone chip production over to TSMC. This fire hose of cash gave TSMC billions, which they immediately used to buy the best machines in the world, which let them perfect their process, which then forced everyone else, like Nvidia and AMD, to use them just to keep up, which of course gave them even more money. You just rinse and repeat that cycle and their lead becomes unstoppable.
And the result of that virtuous cycle? It's this. When we talk about the most advanced chips, the brains inside AI servers, the latest fighter jets, your smartphone, Taiwan makes 92% of them. Let that sink in.
This isn't just a lead, it's a near-total monopoly on the cognitive engine of the entire human species.
So, when you have that level of dominance concentrated on a geopolitically tense island, well, it was only a matter of time before that caused a major panic. And that panic has now exploded into a full-blown tech war between the world's two biggest superpowers.
For decades, the US was completely asleep at the wheel on this. Then two things happened. First, COVID hit, and suddenly Ford couldn't build its F-150 pickup trucks because they were missing a $2 chip from Taiwan. Second, the Pentagon had this terrifying realization that the brains inside all of its advanced weapons systems came from an island that China views as a renegade province. It was a genuine existential crisis.
So the U.S. finally responded. On October 7, 2022, the Biden administration dropped what was essentially a regulatory nuclear bomb. They unleashed these massive export controls that tried to freeze China's technological progress right in its tracks. The goal was to cut off China's access to any advanced chips or chip-making tools that used American technology. And here's the kicker. Pretty much all of them do.
But here's the thing about sanctions. They're kind of like antibiotics. If they don't kill the bacteria, they can create a superbug. The US banned the tools to make 7-nanometer chips, and China just shocked the world by making one anyway. The US banned Nvidia's top AI chip, so China just bought billions of dollars worth of the next best version. Then the US banned that one too. The really crucial point here is that the sanctions didn't just stop China. They lit a fire under it, forcing it to build its own independent supply chain way faster than anyone thought possible.
And all of this whole crazy situation, brings us to the terrifying paradox at the very heart of it all. Is Taiwan's ship dominance a shield that protects it, or is it a giant target that ultimately dooms it?
Probably the darkest theory out there is called the broken nest strategy. The idea comes from an old Chinese proverb. Under a broken nest, how can there be whole eggs? The thinking is, if China invades, Taiwan won't let them capture the golden goose. It will destroy its own fabs. And we're not just talking about planting explosives. The Dutch company ASML, which makes the most critical machines in the whole process, has reportedly confirmed it can remotely disable them with a kill switch. An invading army would capture a smoking crater, not a tech empire.
So, you might be thinking, what's the backup plan? Well, the US is pouring over $50 billion into building TSMC fabs in Arizona. But here's the problem. It's a total logistical and cultural nightmare. The costs are at least 50% higher than in Taiwan, the whole project's been delayed, and this is the most important part, the final, most complex step of packaging the advanced chips will still happen back in Taiwan. These Arizona fabs aren't a replacement. They're more like a very expensive illusion of security.
So this all builds to a final, absolutely terrifying dilemma. On one hand, you have the silicon shield theory, which says Taiwan is simply too valuable to fail, so the world would have no choice but to protect it. But then there's the silicon magnet theory, which argues the exact opposite. The more the US tries to cut China off from this technology, the more desperate China becomes to just go and seize the source. We have effectively turned this tiny island into the single point of failure for our entire civilization.
So the next time you unlock your phone, just take a second to remember the incredible miracle of engineering and the fragile geopolitical standoff that makes it all possible. We built our complex, amazing, interconnected world on a foundation of sand, silicon to be exact. And the question we all have to face now is, what happens when the tide finally comes in?